2 News begins right now with breaking
Neon
news.
Welcome to the Shrines of the Black Madonna, where we believe in you being your best self. Come with an open mind and an open heart. We invite you to partake in our worship experience. Follow us on all of our social media platforms. Giving is an opportunity for us to build community, ministry, health, and best self. Tap into your greatness that God has already placed inside of you and share it with the world. We would love to see you more often. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I believe that human society stands under the judgment of one God, revealed to all and known by many names.
God's creative power is visible in the mysteries of the universe.
And the revolutionary Holy Spirit,
which will not long permit men to endure injustice, nor to wear the shackles of bondage, in the rage of the powerless, when they struggle to be free.
And in the violence and conflict, which even now threaten to level the hills and the mountains.
I believe
that Jesus, the Black Messiah,
was a revolutionary leader
sent by God to rebuild the Black nation Israel,
to liberate African people from powerlessness and from the oppression,
brutality, and exploitation of the white Gentile world.
I believe
that the revolutionary spirit of God embodied in the Black Messiah
is born anew in each generation,
and that Black Christian nationalists constitute the living remnant of God's chosen people
in this day, and are charged by God with responsibility for the liberation of African people.
I believe
that both my survival and my salvation depend upon my willingness to reject individualism.
And so I commit my life
to the liberation struggle of African people
and accept the values, ethics, morals, and program of the Black nation, defined by that struggle and taught by the Pan-African Orthodox Christian Church.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmony of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Stony the road we trod, bitter the chastening rod, felt in the days when hope unborn had died, felt with a steady beat, have dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won.
Get connected and stay connected online with the Shrine of the Black Madonna Virtual Village. Worship, join, learn, give, connect with us, all in one place in just 3 easy steps. 1. Go to our landing page via our Linktree URL or QR code. 2. Browse our selections and decide what you want to do and where you want to go. 3. Click on your choice and we'll take you right there. Yes, in just 3 easy steps, you can worship, join, learn, give, all in one place. So, get connected and stay connected with us online at the Shrine of the Black Madonna Virtual Village.
Welcome to our Shrine online experience. The Shrine of the Black Madonna of the Pan-African Orthodox Christian Church is a network of institutions, organizations, programs, and services dedicated to Pan-African transformation, unification, and empowerment. Our efforts over the past 70+ years have focused upon both building and sustaining a pathway forward. We understand that to achieve results requires actions, and we proudly stand upon the shoulders of those who, through their sacrifice and commitment, has enabled us to be here today. You know, history is a great teacher because it reveals that it was through the courageous acts and resilience of our ancestors that enabled them to survive their physical bondage. There are many examples of heroic feats that were performed by our ancestors. History is a great teacher because it reveals that it was the strong perseverance and courageous acts of brothers and sisters on the motherland, Africa, that led to the upheaval and the overthrow of neocolonialism and the fight against apartheid. History is indeed a great teacher because it reveals that it was the strong actions and more courageous acts of our foreparents, our parents, their parents, and the parents before them that fueled their fight against the ravages of the Klan and Jim Crow segregation. Of course, those many dreams that we had of being a fruitful and productive people have still not been fully realized. So that is why we continue along a path that takes us forward, refusing to go back. No, we won't go back. And it is in that spirit that I come to you today, issuing a call for us to continue to mobilize and to give it all you got. You see, we are at a point in time that requires our main focus, our maximum efforts be realized by using the power that each of us has, which is the power of our vote. November 5th, 2024 is not just another date on the calendar. It is a day that will determine how we use our choice to live meaningful lives. This upcoming election will have serious consequences, and there are serious issues on the ballot that are critical to our self-interest. On the ballot are many individuals, some of which represent a lack of principles, a lack of empathy for the disadvantaged, a lack of regard for building a sustainable future or working for the common good. On the ballot in November will be individuals who has a primary goal to promote division, hatred, revenge, retribution. On the ballot will be individuals that not only admire dictators, but aspire and desire to be dictators themselves, favoring an autocracy rather than a democracy. So I say that the stakes are too high to ignore. The stakes are too high to take a pass. The stakes are too high to sit out. This is not a time to be a spectator. We've got to give it all that we've got. We got to give it all that we got. Now, being a student of the Bible, I found parallels in the biblical writings that provide examples of how a certain group of people were able to mobilize, to fight, and to struggle to free themselves from their earthly oppression. They found strength and direction because of their belief in their divine right to live a prosperous existence. This small group was known as the African nation Israel. In the Gospel of James, chapter 2, verses 14 through 17, and then again in chapter 4, verse 17, it says, "What good is it, my brothers, if a man claims to have faith but has no deeds? Can such faith save him? Suppose a brother or sister is without clothes and daily food. If one of you says to him, 'Go, I wish you well, keep warm and well fed,' but does nothing about his physical needs, what good is it? In the same way, faith by itself, if it is not accompanied by action, is dead. Anyone then who knows the good he ought to do and doesn't do it, sins." Now, the Gospel of James is attributed to Jesus' brother, who after his crucifixion became one of the leaders of the movement. It was important that their movement continue, but they had some obstacles. After the crucifixion, the disciples had lost faith and had fled Jerusalem, but they were able to recover and return, and then began to organize themselves. We find in Acts 2, verses 42 through 47, they devoted themselves to the apostles' teachings and to fellowship, to the breaking of bread and to prayer. Everyone was filled with awe at the many wonders and signs performed by the apostles. All the believers were together and had everything in common. They sold property and possessions to give to anyone who had need. Every day, they continued to meet together in the temple courts. They broke bread in their homes and ate together with glad and sincere hearts, praising God and enjoying the favor of all the people. And the Lord added to their number daily those who were being saved. It's important to note, they were not in search of otherworldly salvation. They were not looking for milk and honey. They were not searching for the pearly gates. They were building a strong community that could address the needs of their people. They were doing more than sending thoughts and prayers to those who experience calamity and pain. Now, I mention thoughts and prayers because every time we have a tragedy, that's one of the phrases that is so commonly used. In the most recent school shooting, and that in itself is an abomination because it's a series of events that are happening in our schools across the country that leave innocent children and teachers murdered and injured. Thoughts and prayers, though well-meaning, cannot substitute for definitive action. Thoughts and prayers cannot compensate for the excessive use of weapons of mass destruction that is terrorizing our communities. Thoughts and prayers, though well-meaning, do not prevent people who have decided that it's guns and not words and discourse that is the solution to their disputes and their grievances. So here we are in a society today where we find ourselves in a constant state of siege, incidences of road rage, domestic violence, racial and homophobic assaults, xenophobic attacks, which mean having no regard or dislike for people from other countries, which is highlighted by certain people and policies. All of these things create an unsustainable environment. And that is why I so appreciate the recent response to the shootings in Georgia, in Winder, Georgia, by Vice President Kamala Harris, who said, "It doesn't have to be this way. Something must be done. Something must be done." But as I reflect back on the story of the disciples and how they managed to make a comeback after their setback, It's uplifting and remarkable, but that alone did not solve their community's problems. You see, they were still disenfranchised. They were still marginalized. They were still being persecuted. The believers were being terrorized, arrested, some killed for their acts of defiance. In Acts 8, verses 1 through 3, it states, Saul approved of their killing him. On the day of great persecution broke out against the church in Jerusalem, and all except the apostles were scattered throughout Judea and Samaria. Godly men buried Stephen and mourned deeply for him. But Saul began to destroy the church. Going from house to house, he dragged off both men and women and put them in prison. So what are you saying, preacher woman? I'm saying that it was a dangerous time, yet they continued and they added to their numbers. You know, it's important for us to realize that when you put up resistance, you may face hard conditions. You know, it's really naive for us to expect that when we don't want to make a change, that the conditions have to be just right, at the right time. That's a fallacy that we have to overcome. In the book Black AF History by Michael Harriot, he chronicles the movement that started in terms of civil rights from the Montgomery bus boycott. In his book, he points out that when the Montgomery bus boycott was launched, there were several women who were instrumental in ushering in that movement. One of the earliest was noted, her name was Claudette Colvin, who at the age of 15 was arrested for refusing to give her seat to white women who were standing, although she was already sitting in the designated colored section. And this happened on March the 2nd, 1955, 9 months prior to Rosa Parks. And there was another woman, Aurelia Broder, who on April 19th, 1955, the mother of 6, refused to give up her seat. Still another, Susie McDowell, who in her 70s defied authorities and was arrested on October 21st, 1955. And then it was Rosa Parks on December 1st, 1955, who at the time was the secretary for the Montgomery branch of the NAACP. But to get that movement moving, a woman by the name of Joanne Gibson Robinson, who was a professor at Alabama State University, mobilized her organization, which was the Women's Political Council, to organize a one-day boycott. What did they do? They printed and distributed 34,000 flyers to the community. Some of that flyer said, "This has got to be stopped. Negroes have rights too. For if Negroes did not ride the buses, they could not operate. 3/4 of the riders are Negro. Yet we are arrested or have to stand over empty seats. If we do not do something to stop these arrests, they will continue. The next time it may be you or your daughter or mother. This woman's case will come up on Monday. We are therefore asking every Negro to stay off the buses on Monday in protest of the arrest and trial. Don't ride the buses to work, to town, to school, or anywhere on Monday. You can afford to stay out of school for one day." These sisters started a push, started a movement that ushered in the boycott in Montgomery. For 381 days, the people of Montgomery walked. For 381 days, Black people in Montgomery gave each other rides. They gave it all they could in an effort to serve as a reminder that we can do the same today. And you may ask, why am I speaking in such urgent tones today? There's a reason. There's a growing negativity that threatens to engulf us. Perhaps you've heard about it. Project 2025. It's a plan that calls for how the next administration, which will be dominated and controlled by Republicans, should pattern themselves. Well, the NAACP most recently issued a response to this blatantly racist, restrictive right-wing Project 2025. They highlighted that in this 900-page plan, there are certain things that we must be aware of. In their words, they said, if enacted, Project 2025 sets back decades of civil rights progress for Black America. Project 2025 threatens civil rights gains and with plans to dismantle affirmative action, weaken anti-discrimination laws, and reduce the enforcement powers of the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, threatening to reverse gains made in employment, equity, and equal opportunity. And then they go on to say, when it comes to health care, Project 2025 proposes to repeal the Affordable Care Act, reduce Medicaid funding, eliminate programs aimed at addressing health disparities, which would lead to reduced access to health care services and worsening health care outcomes for Black Americans. They didn't stop there. When it comes to education, Project 2025 seeks to defund public education in favor of private and charter schools, eliminate diversity and inclusion programs, and roll back protections of students of color, undermining educational opportunities and exacerbating racial disparities in academic achievement. But they didn't stop. Project 25 includes measures to increase policing and incarceration, reducing funding for community-based alternatives, and eliminating initiatives aimed at addressing systemic racism in the justice system, which would lead to higher incarceration rates and further entrench racial inequities. As if that would be enough, the environmental impacts of Project 2025 include the rollback of key environmental protections, reduction of enforcement of environmental regulations, and the prioritization of industrial and corporate interests over community health, which disproportionately affects low-income and minority communities that are already burdened with environmental hazards and pollution. Now, they want to offer us alternatives. They believe that if we use the power of the vote, we can help spread the word to stop this onslaught that is facing our community. Instead of regressive policies, they say we need another plan. We need a collection of policies aimed to benefit Black Americans and the entire nation. We need to work on things that will increase wages, invest in our schools, have pathways to progress within the criminal justice system. Because in our program, women's bodies must be protected from uninformed legislation. Black communities must be protected from police and gun violence. And Black history and diversity must be protected and not banned. The only way to keep Project 25 from becoming our future is to educate and mobilize Black voters, so we're ready to cast our ballots in local, state, and federal elections. We have to do something. We have to mobilize. We cannot sit on the sidelines and wait for somebody else to do something that we're unwilling to do for ourselves. We have to be that person. We have to be the ones to say we're going to step out and make a change for our community. I'm encouraged by the enthusiasm and the importance of the election that has been stirred up in the last few weeks, but we cannot let it wane. I'm reminded again of the passage in James, where they say, do not merely listen to the word and so deceive yourselves. Do what it says. Anyone who listens to the word but does not do what it says is like a man who looks at his face in the mirror and after looking at himself goes away and immediately forgets what he looks like. But the man who looks intently into the perfect law that gives freedom and continues to do this, not forgetting what he has heard, but doing it, he will be blessed in all he does. That's James 1:22-25. You see, it is in the doing. We've got to get out and vote and tell others to vote as well. We've got to educate and mobilize anyone, everyone with ears to hear, because our goal is to move forward. Now, I know for some people this may be a big pill to swallow. You may feel a sense of hesitation because it means moving outside of your comfort zone and doing uncomfortable things, stepping out. But this work is for everyone. This is everybody's mission. You know, when I was a child, I experienced the tragedies of the assassination of Dr. King, the rebellions of '67, the horrors of wars. I used to say, somebody's got to do something. But when I became a young woman, I learned that I had to be a part of something to make sure that something would change. I learned that I couldn't do it on my own, though I needed a group. And that's when I joined the Shrine of the Black Madonna. After I joined the Shrine of the Black Madonna, I found out I wasn't alone in my thinking. I wasn't alone in my understanding. I wasn't alone in my desire to live a meaningful and fruitful life. I wasn't alone in understanding that you got to speak up when you see that things are not right. You got to step up when you see that there are changes that need to be made. You got to put up with an investment of time and finances to accomplish your vision and your goal. We have the power to chart our own destiny. We have the power to chart our own course, because each of us, I'm talking about you, me, all of us, we have an inner divinity that will allow us to move to higher levels. And we can accomplish whatever we put our minds to. We can accomplish all the things if we work as a group. We've done it before, and we can do it again. So brothers and sisters, let's give it all we've got. Amen and Ashe.
Family, if what you heard in the message moved or inspired you to do something, then don't hesitate to reach out to us and discover how you can become an agent for change and an instrument of social, political, economic, and environmental justice together with us as a follower or subscriber of our Best Self movement. So don't delay. Just go to our web link, www.linktr.ee/SOBM. That's linktree/SOBM. And get involved in our Pan-African global struggle for dignity, self-determination, power, and freedom today. And please, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment to help us grow our virtual Pan-African village with our people everywhere. Ashe and Amen.